You are watching the number one podcast in the whole entire Youth Wrestling community, and I'm one of your hosts, Juanzo.
And I'm your other host, Jean-Paul Leek.
And together we are...
Rope
Break! And I'm Jean-Paul. I'm here with you for the last Monday Night Raw of the year of 2020. So thank you for inviting me.
Yeah,
and I think...
we're not here Tuesday morning. We're doing something special for everybody right after the show.
It is pretty cool, yeah. So we're actually saying bye to 2020, being together for the last Monday Night Raw. And we're going to find out if it was a great show, if it was a bad show. Like you said, the one thing, 3 hours is always long. And especially when you have the same people through the same, many segments throughout the show, it kind of bothers me. I really don't like that. I just want to see one segment and one group of wrestlers and then move on to another group. But we're going to talk about everything. So, thank you so very much, family, for being with every single one of us. We love it. Thank you for the subscriptions, the love. And, we're actually excited about 2021. We mentioned, on the beginning of the video, our condolences to everybody. That is the family, friend, wrestlers from John Huber, or a.k.a. Luke Harper, a.k.a. Brody Lee. He passed away on Saturday, so we feel really sad by this. John Paul and I found out the news really quick, and we couldn't believe it. It was just something that it really impacted our lives because, we were used to seeing the Exalted One every single Wednesday on AEW, and we didn't know the battle that he was having with lung disease that he had. And like you said in Instagram, Bray Wyatt put something really great. And, this guy actually was really loved by everybody in the industry, in the business, so it's a big loss. So we're really sad for that. But, the best way of honor him and his memory is just to keep going and keep providing the best content that we always provide. And it's a shame that we can never have him on the show, though. So, for his family, for his friends, this show goes to every single one of you. So, Paul, tell me a little bit about this Monday Night Raw, setting up for Legends Night.
Yeah, I would say on a brighter note, but, I guess this show was a little bit better, so, it was all right. You said set up for Legends Night, a little bit of Royal Rumble build. We had some announcements. Bobby Lashley was one. He's put his name into that, match. And, we had some on the women as well. But this was a better Monday Night Raw than we've seen recently. But overall, still way too long. Still so much to watch. You're like, oh, is it almost done? And, oh, it's only 9 o'clock. Or, oh, it's only 8:30. And you're like, this is just, it takes forever to get to 11 o'clock. But, we got here. And, I'm excited for some things, other things not so much.
Yes, exactly. So, the Monday Night Raw started with our champion, Drew McIntyre. He comes out, don't you think that, every time he comes out with the sword and now the skirt, really? It is so overly done. It's it needs to change, come in regular clothes. If you're not going to fight, don't even come out, naked. Who cares? Don't overkill, the great entrance that kid did. When it's shown one time, it's good. But now, every single time,
and also he wasn't set to wrestle or anything tonight, so he should have just been in normal clothes.
Yes.
If you're gonna just, I'm not saying he needs to look like a bum, but come out there maybe wearing jeans and a black T-shirt like we saw, or his merch, T-shirt the one on WWE Shop, whatever. Wear that instead of coming out in the kilt and the sword. It's are you gonna have a match? But yes. So I agree with you on that.
It's not good. So he says, I want to say thank you to every single fan, that's been supporting me for the longest time. I was called the chosen one by Vince McMahon, but now I realize that I was chosen by every single one of you, and simply because of that, I'm just thankful. So he has a really nice promo, thanking the fans. It's the end of 2020. So out of that comes out his partner, his fella, Sheamus. So you got to see an interaction, and actually I thought that he was going to be the one that was going to end up challenging for the WWE Championship. And Sheamus says, I'm going to win the number one contenders match because he's going to be fighting Keith Lee. And he says, I won the dream match between you and me to become a reality. And also I would really love that the WWE Championship will be on the line for that. So that's the route that I thought that they were going to go. But, we had to go through the match first. And then, we get to see this, the match, and whoever wins will challenge Drew McIntyre. At least I like the idea that it's number one contender, don't you think? Because we rarely see that anymore.
Yeah, I like this, and I like the line, everything, the interaction with Drew and Sheamus, and he's like, I trusted you last week, and he's like, yeah, you trusted me, but I stuck to my word. I didn't hit Keith Lee until after the match was
Yeah,
over. He
yeah,
never said anything about that, and then Keith Lee comes out. He's pissed. He showed a lot of like aggression in his voice. Very, maybe this is something they were teaching him when he went to the PC. Instead of being very nice and polite, come out and actually be like a badass, which he was. He called out Drew. He called out Sheamus. He was like, Sheamus, you're fucking, bullshit. And he's like, Drew, I trusted you. You said your boy was good. Clearly he wasn't, and he's like, I hold you just as accountable as him. So, he's not really friendly with Drew at this moment either. So they have that stare down, and as they're talking, because Drew's like, hey, calm down, let's get this match on now. And I'm like, well, this to me should have been the main event. And now we see why it wasn't, because of what we got in the main event, which we'll get to. But, this thing starts off Sheamus, like you have in the picture. He hits 2 bro kicks right at the start of this, or before the match even actually begins officially. Yeah. But, this match, I really enjoyed this. I thought it was a good match. And, like you had mentioned, you thought Sheamus was going to be the one to go on to win this thing, which, not to skip ahead, but he came up short in this match. But I think they're saving him for the Royal Rumble, because Drew's going to need an opponent, and because this is just for Legends Night. As soon as they just said that, just next week Legends Night, I'm like, I could clearly see Keith Lee winning this thing. Maybe Sheamus gets involved because he's pissed. Maybe we get a triple threat, which would be pretty legit at the Royal Rumble. Or maybe, Keith Lee says, fuck it, I lost. He enters the Royal Rumble and wins it there. Then he earns his opportunity legit, one-on-one, no interference, no bullshit, except unless they give the Money in the Bank briefcase back to somebody, but they'd never be stupid enough to do that. No. So,
we'll find out about that in a little bit, yeah.
But I really like this match, and it was just Spirit Bomb, 1, 2, 3. The only thing I thought was a little bullshit is that the ref is like checking his shoulders. He's like, oh, is he down? Is he down? And I'm like, oh my God, is Sheamus going to kick out? It's taking him forever to start the count. 1, 2, 3. No, he was done. He sold the Spirit Bomb. So I really enjoyed this match.
Yeah, it was really good. I really liked the whole match. I mean, like the whole time I was thinking like Sheamus was gonna get the win, but like you said, Spirit Bomb, 1, 2, 3, and done. So like next week, like you said, for Legends Night, we're gonna get our champion Drew McIntyre defended against Keith Lee. So like you said, you already said the whole story. So probably he will not win the championship. They're not gonna make a title switch. I really don't see that happening. No. But in the end, it's a good match. It's a good opportunity for Keith Lee. And you also see that like the days of the Performance Center are actually working out. Like training with Otis, training with everybody else on Tuesday and Thursday, so he misses Impact. But at least it's like he won a championship.
Well, if he follows rope break, he can see all the results.
That's fine. That's fine. Yeah, exactly. So there's no need for him to actually go watch the show. He can just be with us. But like that's the beginning of the show. It started out hot, like you said. I would much rather to see that in the main event. I will tell you that. For me, the title should always be your main thing, the main prize that you fight for. But of course, in WWE fashion, they always have to give you other stories that really don't mean a lot. Or at least they don't have a lot of time.
And speaking of that, I do like after the match, Keith Lee stared down with Drew, and they didn't just say shit. It was ever Drew held up the title, like you said. That is the main event. That's what it's all for. They're fighting for the belt.
Yes, exactly. So that's what we had. Then we have something like really quick, and actually didn't make a lot of sense. Clearly not, it didn't, and that was like it was the Grand Metalik. Grand Metalik going against The Miz. I mean, Grand Metalik is like a great wrestler. Like we always we're supporting him through the days of SmackDown. But of course, he goes to Raw. Done. He is completely oblivion. Not that they don't give him like any chances. Even like the Lucha House Party don't even go for the titles because the main story is the Hurt Business and the New Day and now the Hardy Bros. So like the match was really quick, and in the end, he goes against The Miz, and actually he ends up pinning The Miz. So
yeah, I like this for 2 reasons. We saw a little bit of aggression in The Miz, which I thought like he needs to have for me to actually believe in him instead of just being goofy all the time and a pussy and losing. And Grand Metalik won. So those are the 2 things that I enjoyed because I mean The Miz, with what we'll get to later on, he's I guess relevant again. But to me, I was like, let these guys lose so they can split apart and we can see John Morrison in a singles run. But the way that they portray John Morrison in a singles run, he'd probably be running after the 24/7 championship, which I'm surprised didn't make an appearance in this match. So, yeah, this to me was pointless.
Oh, yeah, this was like the point. Like, you start out so hot, and then when people start changing the channel. You know,
Mm-hmm.
even the Miz, even the Miz knows that. That's why you change the channel. That's how I look
Mm-hmm.
like that. I really look like absolute trash because he actually lost to Grand Metal League. Imagine, like, if
Mm-hmm.
they would have not changed the story like later on in the night, like the Miz would you go from like WWE champion being cool, being legit, being a valid wrestler? No, But like
Mm-hmm.
up to this point, like the Miz was completely having a really bad 2020. So now let's talk about something also like little pointless, and that is Dana Brooke. Dana Brooke going against Shayna Baszler. Like this, we get to see our girls. I mean, as in paper, the tag team looks strong. But when you put this in action, actually, when you play it out, it doesn't make any sense. Neither one of them is like a great wrestler. Neither one of them can carry the other one. It's just I'm saying that they're not good enough to be on their own, and not even as in attack. So like, what do you think about this match? Because it was really quick, also. Like,
Yeah, I mean, of course, you had Mandy Rose and like, oh, like let me try to interfere, and of course they made Dana Brooke look decent because it was this wasn't going to be like a squash match because I feel like in the future because like you said this team looks good, they're easy on the eyes, and they look good on paper, two muscle blondes, oh, okay, legit, but in ring it's ooh they need some work, so they're not going to put the tag belts on these women anytime soon, but you gotta at least you can't job them out. You got to make them at least look kind of decent. So that's what they did here. But, Shayna Baszler hits a huge knee strike, Karafuda clutch, and, that was the end of it. That was the right, winner for this
I like
one.
how she was twisting the arm right around here. Like that was good. At
Mm-hmm.
some point in the match, Dana had some offense. So like I guess like you
Yeah.
said, there's not a completely job that work. So you see that like deep down they want to help these girls, but like they don't know how. So like you said, boom. As long as soon as she fell into the cure for a clutch, you will see one that she was gonna tap, and then Mandy tries to help out, and Mandy gets also like here for a clutch also done.
Which, I mean, I like this just because you have Shayna look strong, which,
Oh yeah, no. I think that
I
Shayna
think
is
that's
gonna be
what we
the one
need.
appointed for the title match because she did this to the both girls. So you see that Shayna is actually doesn't need Nia Jax to like
Mm-hmm.
go for a championship. So I think maybe they're trying to go behind Shayna one more time. So that's good. So like you see that at least Shayna Baszler is being groomed for like a better opportunity because clearly she deserves a lot better. So
Yeah.
now little in a little bit we're gonna get like the Alexa Bliss is gonna have like in the playground that she has right now is gonna have Randy Orton as guest, and I want your thoughts on this segment in particular because at least what they say to each other is good. The acting is pretty well. Like you see like Alexa like she clearly as a wrestler might not have a bright future, but as an actress, I believe every single thing that she says, and she performs her character really, really well. So like she's in the playground. She calls Randy Orton twice. Doesn't respond. We hear the music. So I thought that he was gonna come out of behind her and then do the RKO because that's naturally how WWE fashion does things. Like Alexis like, no, 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 don't be bullshit. Sees their face. He's like, no, 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 that's not what's gonna happen. And actually, Randy Orton pops in the Firefly Funhouse. So I don't know who has the key for that, but everybody just if they want to show up, they just do it. I don't know who has the key for that. It's like, so I'm here. What's up, Robert family? Right there. And he starts like destroying everything from the funhouse. Everything. He gets like, like the pictures. He gets like the marionettes that they have, all of that, puppet, all of that, right there. Boom, boom, boom. And Alexa's like, don't do that. No, Randy, why? And then Alexa gets really, really upset. So I like that. I like how like I never seen him that upset. And she challenges him to like a face to face or like a match, some kind of like something that it will end up being the main event because Randy says like, oh no, the Fiend is gonna come back today. So that's how like they set it out for that, and that's when Jean Paul even said to me, that's why they had Keith Lee and Sheamus in the first segment because this was gonna be the main event. So let's hear from you.
Yeah, I like this as well. And, she hinted earlier, which, as I'm bringing this up as a joke, she hinted earlier, she's like, oh, maybe The Fiend will come back at Legends Night to meet his hero, Hulk Hogan. And I'm
Yeah,
like, yeah, right. Because could you see the Hogan jobbing to The Fiend for the Mandible Claw? No.
no, no, it's not gonna happen.
Hogan would Hulk out of that, and then he would leg drop the Fiend and pose, and it would be like and then Goldberg would have to come in, and then it would be like WCW, and we don't need that. But no, all joking aside, I like this segment though. It was good. I agree with you 100%. Alexa Bliss way better in this role, way more believable as
Yes.
an actress, and then she more so in the main event, but in this segment too, like when she gets upset and like you can see whether she's angry or sad, it comes off believable. I mean, you can tell she's acting, but it's at least believable. It's
He's
not like
unbelievable acting. Yeah.
it's not like other people when you see it and you're like, oh God, clearly like they're really trying and it's obvious that they're trying. Alexa, it seems
Natural.
it seems natural. So that's
Organic.
I like it, and Randy Orton's the perfect person too because when he's an asshole and he does this terrible stuff, it seems natural for him too. He's a natural heel. And it plays good, so I like this. The only thing which we didn't see it, so I'm happy. I was scared that they were already going to bring the Fiend back, but I think they are going to do Legends Night. I think they're going to try to make that feel really
special. And we're going to say your praise and eat your vitamins, right?
Exactly.
And then claw. If Hogan says for the Fiend, at least it will be Resurgence 3. Because we keep seeing this resurrection from the Fiend, more times than the Undertaker in 30 years. We've seen the Fiend in 1 year. So, that little bit of like information right there, some data for you, family. So this was bad, though. This next segment was bad. You see Elias is playing the guitar with like Riker, or like, there's like duo right now. And then all of a sudden AJ Styles shows up with Mandingo. And, the main thing is like, I don't understand, like AJ Styles is supposed to be heel, right? So Elias is a face. And, we know that Elias is not a really good baby face. So I don't even know, how can you go, Paul, from like, facing the champion Drew McIntyre in a TLC match. Not a bad match. Now you just go with Elias. Poor AJ Styles. If this is going to do with me, I'm going back to Impact, at least to face Rick Swann.
Yeah, I mean, this, and then the match that it led into, I guess we'll mention the match when we get to it, but I mean, this segment, I feel like AJ is just very likable. Whether he's a heel, because when he's a heel, he's usually kind of like a dumbass. You can like laugh at him, but he's also always legit in the ring. So, you like him. So because of all that, I feel like, you can easily flip him from babyface to heel. So to me, that's not that big of a deal because I don't really see this being a long, drawn out feud, if it's even going to become a feud. But, the match itself, I thought went way too long. I mean, I'll say the same thing that I said about Dana Brooke, but even more so with Elias. They made him look good. He had a lot of offense, really wearing down. I believe it was it AJ's arm? I believe it was. He was wearing down most of the match. So, and then AJ really couldn't hit the phenomenal forearm, or when he tried to make a cover, they said, oh, it's because of that bad arm. Elias was kicking out and stuff. I love AJ kicked out of the drift away, like, fuck your finisher, you're a bullshit jobber, I'm not going to sell for that thing. So
it's true.
So he kicked out of that one, which is right. AJ is a main event. He's the top 3 guy in your company, no matter which brand you put him on, and Elias is mid-card. And they were, and commentators like, oh, Elias, he's going after all these main event, big name guys. He went after Jeff Hardy, and now he's going after AJ Styles. It's like, yeah, but he lost against Jeff. So it's like
he loses to everybody.
Yes. Yeah, it's like so he goes after these guys, but he loses. So that's really not like a rub. He's not getting like a push for if you lose, you lose. You're a loser. So in the end of this thing, phenomenal forearm, still a loser.
1, 2, 3, yeah, and right there, like you said, where does AJ go from now? That's the only thing that I'm asking, because it's like, if it's not the WWE Championship, what is there for him? Like he's been asking a match with Edge when Edge is ready. He's been asking a match with Triple H. He's been asking a match.
Yeah, and the thing with Omos, like you said, with that, where does AJ go? Yeah, exactly. Yeah, whatever you want to call him. Yeah. A rose of any other name is still, 11
still
inches.
It's
still 11 inches long. But
yes,
with him, with the bodyguard, it'd be the perfect way to screw over Drew or whoever for the champion. And then if you want AJ to have it, but it's not in the plans. I mean, they're riding high with Drew, and if Keith Lee, the Lesnar, if that rumored match is going to happen, which I hope it doesn't, I don't see AJ fitting into that.
That's what I mean, because if you have Mandingo, almost however you said, whatever his name is, he needs to be accompanied by what? Gold. Because he will do the dirty work. He'll help you win matches, and then you become a champion.
And I mean, AJ could be a United States champion again, but what we saw later on, clearly that's going to be Matt Riddle.
Yeah, it's going to be Matt Riddle. So, let's talk about Mustafa Ali, the leader of Retribution. So he's going to have a match with Ricochet, because if Ricochet loses, supposedly he's going to try to recruit him to the Retribution. But if not, Ricochet is going to be all right. So he says, hey, we offer you an opportunity to stop being the person that you are. Pretty much stop being a jobber, be legit with us. It's like being like the AEW version of the Dark Order.
How legit would it have been if he was like, I have your mask right here, and it was Prince Puma's mask?
See, for example, when you bring stuff like that, that's the kind of detail that actually makes you invested in the story. But they don't do that. They go with the worst, more regular lines, or like not even organic. They just go with the most regular, like I said, regular, boring lines. And, they just led us to this match. Like I said, little retribution against Ricochet. Quality of the match, though, really, really great. Why? Because two cruiserweights. Ricochet is such a underrated wrestler. I don't know how can you be that good and be treated like such shit.
Yeah, I think it's maybe because of his size, and he's not the greatest promo. Like that, they showed a little clip of him on Raw Talk, and it was like, if I don't win, then I won't let people step on me and use me. And it's like, okay, like calm down, like Ricochet.
Your first podcast that you do.
Yeah, like it's like what's going on with. But I mean, like you said, this match, was. There was actually a couple good matches. I was gonna say this one might have even been better than Sheamus and Keith Lee. This match was really good, and of course, all Retribution got involved. But see, Ricochet, even though he's smaller, like the way he moves and just hits the DDTs and all this stuff when he was taking out all of the members of Retribution, to me it was believable.
Oh yeah, like see for example, like that beautiful German that he did, like you say the DDTs. Like he even did a DDT on the outside. Oh, that was beautiful. Mm-hmm. Perfect. Like Ricochet can give you a quality match. Ricochet is just art in wrestling.
And Ricochet to me is the best seller that WWE has. Like main roster, like when he gets hit with something, his facial expressions, the way he can fold up his body and just lay there limp, like the way he sells, like nobody can touch him.
Oh no, yeah, like I said, he, before we used to say Dolph Ziggler was pretty good at selling, but Ricochet is one step up.
Yeah, I mean Ziggler can sell, but he's always a heel, so you're like, oh, it looks like he got his ass kicked, but he's a heel, so you like it. But when Ricochet sells, you're like, oh, you feel bad for him because he's a babyface.
Exactly, and look at this, and the submission hold, because he doesn't do the inverted 450 anymore. He's just boom. He just does this submission hold, and he got Ricochet to tap out or even passed out because I think he just passed out.
No. The ref called it.
No, see, there you go. See, that's kind of it opens up another opportunity for him to just have another match, maybe, because we saw afterwards. Then Mustafa comes and is like, "Are you gonna join? Are you gonna be legit? Are you gonna subscribe to Raw Break?" And Ricochet is like, "No, he doesn't like us that much." So he goes "I do." And then he goes, "I do not." And then he just run. And then you see the storyline, I think, is just going to carry on. I don't know if you should carry on with this, but, I think Ricochet deserves a little better. And Retribution, I don't know if you can get the validity, the validation, the legitimacy that you want out of Ricochet. You need a big name to just, become, a believable staple, at least for me.
Yeah, and it's the only thing you would have... This feud doesn't feel legit to me. Like I've been saying the past couple of weeks, is these two guys are fantastic, but this feud, it can't break through the mid-card ceiling. I feel like there's nothing they can do to make this feud feel main event. So they'll probably just drag it out. These two will probably both be in the Royal Rumble. You'll have Ricochet eliminate Ali, and then the commentary team will be like, "I'm sure that's the last thing that Ricochet had to do to Mustafa Ali to signify that the feud's over," because they're like, "We have no idea how to end this feud because nobody's it's one of those things where they just wait for the fans. Are you going to buy into it? Are you going to buy into it?" And nobody's buying into it, so they're like, "Shit, we don't know what to do."
You give it a lot of chances, but yet you're not really invested.
What are they fighting for? There's no gold on the line. What happens if Ricochet joins the group? Does that make Mustafa Ali able to challenge Drew? No. Are they going to go after the tag team gold? No.
And they even have, remember, the feud with the Hurt Business, and nothing happened there, and that was the United States champion. So where can you go?
That's what I mean. Yeah, so there's nowhere for this feud to go. The only thing is Ricochet beats Ali, and then maybe challenges whoever. Maybe he'll challenge Matt Riddle if Riddle beats Bobby Lashley, but do we want to see babyface? No. So that's what I mean. I really don't know where they go with this.
Yeah, so it's exactly in the same position of the Dark Order. Here, even the first 2 weeks probably decent, or I want to see where it goes, but not absolutely dead. Same thing what happened with the Dark Order. All these great promos, remember all of that, but where are they now? If you're gonna come out with a story, make sure that at least you know where it's gonna go.
Exactly.
Not just as the weeks go by, we're gonna try to see where it goes. So something that they always know where it goes because they have to stop Lana's push because of the return of this Blondie. Charlotte is going to be facing Nia Jax, and pretty much she has a promo with Charlie. He's like, oh, she injured me, 6 months ago, June 22nd to be more precise. And also she says, hey, I'm going to beat her. Of course, Nia Jax is like the most feared woman in the WWE, but who's like the most women that has won most titles? Me. So like I can actually beat her. And then Charlie goes, what about 2021? Where are you going to go? What are your goals? Says, well, like always, stay on top. So if she wants to stay on top, she just gotta ask Cien Almas to just like, hey, honey, you know how we do this? So I want to be on the top. So that's fine. And then Asuka shows out in the back. I thought it was going to be Cien Almas, but it's Asuka, and nobody's ready for Charlotte. So they got a match, and this one like didn't even turn out into anything because Nia Jax also got a promo, and then she said that like she's going to enter the Royal Rumble, the Women's Royal Rumble. She's going to win the Royal Rumble match, and then she's going to challenge whoever champion is at that time. So you see, like maybe they're putting like a storyline that is actually believable for like Nia Jax. So we'll see what happens with that. But what did you think about this match with Charlotte and Nia Jax? We've seen this before. It wasn't that bad. It was semi-decent, at least for me.
Yeah, it went a little long than I thought. Charlotte looked really dominant in it, which you knew. It's like, okay, they're not going to have the queen look like bullshit. It took maybe like halfway to like 3/4 of the way through the match she went for the figure four, and then Nia Jax kind of kicked her off, and then she hit her head in the turnbuckle, and it was like, and then Nia Jax fought back. But then within a couple minutes, Charlotte Flair was like, oh, okay, I'm back to normal. You know when you roll out of the ring in the game and you got to wait for your bar to fill back up before you can press X and get up. Well, that's all that was. And, her bar filled back up. She's like, oh, okay, I'm legit now. And started kicking Nia Jax's ass, and then Shayna Baszler came in, Kirifuda clutch, and Shayna and Asuka kind of had a little bit of interaction on the outside throughout the match too, and I think Asuka even maybe pulled or attacked Nia or something. Maybe I saw it wrong. I'm not sure.
She tried to attack Shayna, but Shayna, remember, she made her go through the table. She's the table. Yeah.
This was too long for me, and I really didn't care too much because I really didn't care which either of these two women won. And I mean, I guess they protected Nia because you saw Shayna get involved. Maybe that will cause some dissension. Maybe next week Nia will be like, I didn't need you. I could have won it on my own, blah, blah, blah. And then because before this, and this was the only thing I cared about from all three, these two interviews and this match was that after, Nia said she was going to be in the Royal Rumble, Shayna kind of looks back on Charlie and goes, you know what? That sounds like a good idea. I like that. Which to me was signifying that Shayna's like, you know what? I think I'm going to do the same thing.
Yes, exactly.
I think they fucked up last year. I think this should have been your, the woman who, I mean, even though she did get to WrestleMania and they fucked that up even more by having her lose to Becky Lynch, but, hopefully they redeem her and give her the Raw Women's Championship.
Oh, yeah. And that would be great. That would be a year too late, but at least they will do it. But see, in the picture even shows tension because they're looking at each other kind of. So Asuka and Shayna, it seems to me that it's going to be like the main feud, and that's what it should have been. And I mean, if Asuka is dropping the title to Shayna, that's fine because Shayna deserves a lot better than.
And then don't be surprised if a week later on a Monday Night Raw or wherever they're like, oh, Charlotte Flair versus Shayna Baszler for the title.
And then 13 times. Yep. It wouldn't be surprising. So let's go with what is really surprising is our guy that he started as a Latin lover, Latin sensation, cruiserweight champion, all of that. He wanted to be a gigolo, didn't really get to bang anybody. Our boy Angel Garza, he gets a new gimmick, and he has the rose now. He's Tuxedo Max from Sailor Moon. That's all he has. He can carry that. And
I wish he was. To me, he's more like the reject who didn't make The Bachelor or the Bachelorette.
Yeah, and Charlie's asking hey, kind of because they were some kind of a interest between the two of them. It's like, hey, how you been? And it's like, you're looking for the ideal woman, and then she said, well, in this year you have your ups and downs. I've been rejected. I went to the right. I went to the left. All of that. So, and she goes, what is this? Who is this rose for? And he's about to say something, but then he gets the 24/7. The guys. Doesn't that bother you? I mean, to me, R-Truth, just breaking up like that, it just bothers me because that title means absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. And
yeah, it does. And to me, anytime that title is in a segment, to me, it says that WWE doesn't give a flying fuck about that segment
Yes.
or about that match. That's why I said, the Miz Grand Metalik, that would have been the perfect match to have this garbage come through. Aren't you trying to build up Angel Garza? Aren't you trying to make him feel legit and be like, okay, let's push this guy. He's the second coming, or at least the closest thing we'll get to like an Eddie Guerrero type character. Yep. So let's use him. And he's talented too. That's the thing. It's not like this guy sucks and his only thing is his charisma. He's fantastic in the ring, and yet 24/7 garbage. Same thing. He had that match against Drew Gulak, which felt like an eternity ago, and ever since then, we haven't seen this guy. It's like let's use him.
Yeah, and you guys could see the flower. It was all destroyed, and he gave her to Charlie, and Charlie's like, so why you giving me something?
Yeah, because he would be the perfect guy to build up as a legit heel. So then when hopefully.
When Riddle is good. Yeah.
When Riddle becomes champ, then that would be the perfect mid-card feud. But
and that's what Russo said. That's what Russo said, Paul. Russo said it's like you don't give them any identity. You don't give them anything. So like when I see him, it's like who's this guy? Or like why do I need to care? Give me reasons to care. So at least Russo, he might say bro more times than Matt Riddle, but at least that when he said that idea, it was actually made sense. So talking about Matt Riddle, talking about the bro right there. Yeah, talking with a new day because they were going to have a match. All these 4 guys against the Hurt Business, and they were just saying that they're going to be like the power positivity and something along those lines. They said, and they really.
Oh yeah, he's in the positively hard bros. Yeah, so all these bros are positively hard. We can, they're all hard with that we know for positive. But this picture right here, I see like Jeff. He's like, guys, you're not telling me for 3 weeks in a row I'm gonna submit to the Hurt Lock, right? Yeah. And they're like, you have to tap out to Bobby Lashley again.
You're gonna keep doing it. Yeah, might as well start thinking about your brother Matt because you need to go to AEW and at least get together the Hardy Boys or like be brother Nero one more time because his career in WWE once again he's just falling into oblivion after remember like. A few months ago, the great promos, like he's going to make his return, all the journey from Jeff Hardy. No, nobody's buying it, and actually they trademark the Hardy Bros. Because like maybe they're going to have him in a tag. I don't know what they're going to do, but like, is it working? At least no if you keep tapping to the Hurt Lock, like you said. Talking about the Hurt Lock, Bobby Lashley also announced, like you said in the beginning of the show, we had a lot of people announcing their entry to the Royal Rumble. So at least that's good. At least they tell you, hey, we're waiting for that. Before the year ends. But like, what do you think about this match? To me, it was pretty decent. Nothing out of like greatness, but at least they gave us something to watchable. There you go.
Yeah, all 8 guys in this match are fantastic wrestlers. So you knew this thing was going to be pretty good. But like I had joked before earlier, watching this thing, it's like okay, the only guys who are really probably going to get pinned in this thing are MVP or Jeff Hardy. Because you're not going to pin the New Day because they love the New Day. Matt Riddle, you're building up for Bobby Lashley. So those 2 definitely aren't going to get pinned. So it's like, who is it? It's Hardy or MVP? And, you want the Hurt Business to keep looking good, so then that fell on Jeff Hardy. But this was a really good match. The whole time, Bobby Lashley, he announced he's going to be in the Royal Rumble, and then I thought he looked really dominant in this thing. It was a part where it broke down. I thought I was watching AEW because you had all the baby faces in the ring, and they were all hitting Lashley, and they knocked Lashley out of the ring, but he still landed on his feet, so like they couldn't even take the big man down then. And, he was the one, like we had said, he got the Hurt Lock onto Jeff Hardy. Jeff tapped out. So Lashley, they're making him look super, super dominant. And I wouldn't even be upset if Matt Riddle and him are in the Royal Rumble and they have a little interaction there. Maybe they eliminate each other, or maybe Matt Riddle eliminates him. And, you kind of set up some feud. Because if they would draw this out to WrestleMania, which they should have did with another mid-card feud, Sami Zayn and Big E, this to me would be a legit WrestleMania match.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
Because it's not too far away. 3 months will be here quicker than we know it.
Oh, yeah, you're right. And what they're going to do, supposedly the main plan is going to be the United States Championship match on the line. It's going to be Riddle against Bobby Lashley. But at least you see how much they're taking care of, like, Bobby Lashley. Like, they care about him. And every time, like, he makes people submit with the Hurt Lock. So at least they, in the eyes of Vince McMahon as of right now, because, plans can change anytime in the WWE, and especially in the eyes of Vince McMahon. When he goes to sleep and then he wakes up, he can be Bobby Lashley sucks. He's going to be jobbed out to Grand Metalik. one more time. But at least for the now, he keeps winning. I feel bad for Jeff. I really feel really bad for Jeff just because he deserves a lot better. But like you said, the Fiend will be a great choice. Maybe instead of Kevin Owens, he will stay in SmackDown going against Roman, because as a great babyface Jeff can be, but they're not really like using him at the top of like his ability when it comes to that, because he draws crowd. We're still in love with Jeff Hardy. But every single time, done. So, let's go to the worst part of the show, shall we? This was just bad. You see Morrison and The Miz crying, "Oh, so we suck. Oh, you lost to Grand Metalik. What did you do that for? Could you just kicked out?" Nope. And then you see Adam Pearce, and then he shows up with the Money in the Bank briefcase. And like you said in your review, they mentioned about this, like The Miz saying that like John Morrison was the one that actually cashed in, and it should have not been him. It should have been The Miz cashing in, and for that reason, he gains the Money in the Bank briefcase again. So to me, that's also lazy booking. It shows like, okay, we fucked up. Everybody's saying that we fucked up, so we gotta acknowledge our mistake, and we give The Miz the briefcase one more time. And then
just so he can cash in next week at Legends Night and lose. I don't understand what you're gonna do. You can't put it on him now.
Yeah,
they can't put the belt on The Miz at this point, because what are you gonna? Is he gonna, be champion at going into the Royal Rumble and then challenge somebody and then lose it at the Royal Rumble? Because Miz isn't going to be WWE champion. I don't understand why you do this. Maybe is this to be like, oh, Miz, thank you for, Maurice and her, giant flotation devices for getting ratings on, Miz and Mrs. So we got to keep you relevant. Yeah. I don't understand why else, the Miz, he lost. Let this be done. And, they're celebrating and they're like, ooh, look at us. And it's like, this is bad. This is so dumb. It's like the briefcase to me now it feels like the 24/7 championship. Yes, it feels like bullshit.
It absolutely lost all the credibility for a briefcase. Remember how much people appreciate the briefcase. We go with Swagger that was champion. At some point, every single one that like used the briefcase, they became champion, and it was credible. Remember Rob Van Dam with John Cena. All of those guys benefit from it.
Oh, yeah, not to go too off topic. Corbin, Lesnar, Miz, Otis, all these guys, Braun, the bullshit. Bullshit briefcase holders.
Yeah, like it doesn't mean anything. Like 5 years ago, it meant something. Now it doesn't mean anything. Like you said, you can easily put it right next to the 24/7, like you said. It just doesn't mean anything. So, bad calling on WWE. Like I said, they're trying to fix this mistake, because everybody's like, really? You're not even going to use the Money in the Bank? And like you said, if they would not,
and also by their logic, if you and I are in a car and you're the driver, I'm the passenger, we go to a fast food place, I give you my card to pay, by that logic, then I didn't pay, you paid. Even though it was so Morrison handed the briefcase and Miz said, I'm cashing in, but that doesn't count? Really?
Like you said, this never makes sense with the WWE. That's the one thing that always makes sense, is that they will never make sense. Yes, absolutely. So let's go to the main event. This was good. Alexa Bliss challenge to Randy Orton. This was actually good in the acting part of it, because it wasn't even a match. So everybody, Paul, myself, we're all thinking the Fiend is going to come back. 2 weeks, John Paul even says he loves like long-term booking. So he's like, oh, he's done, like he's alive in 2 weeks, all of that, all that really great scenery, all that picture in our heads that like he's completely burned out and all of that for like 2 weeks now. But actually, this was good. I like this because, again, the acting was really, really good. Alexa Bliss comes out and Randy Orton says, hey, I want to know where's the Fiend. Alexa goes and grabs like a box, and it has a presents, and it has like gasoline right there. But of course it's water. Of course it's water that you can get, in any place. And then she goes and then she starts saying, she has matches also. And she goes, Randy, I bet that you will do the same thing to me that you did to him. So you see, like like Alexa, see how determined she is. Like I said, the acting is pretty good, and you know that like right here we're not really in love with Alexa Bliss, but at least when somebody's doing great acting, we have to acknowledge, right? So Randy the whole time is in doubt, right, Paul?
Yeah, he's looking and he's just like he's like, there's no way. Like she's not like you can tell he's probably like waiting for the Fiend, or he's like, what the hell's going on? She then pours a thing of gasoline on the mat and then a trail to Randy, hands in the matches, and then she's like, look, I made it easy for you. And then she lays down. he's still looking at her like, this fucking bitch is out of her mind. So she stands up, does a big circle of gasoline around herself, dumps it all over herself. Then she starts getting upset. Then she starts screaming. She's like, just do it. And then you see like the real emotion. And that's why it was good. I mean, maybe it's because her face was all wet, but you could almost believe like she was actually crying and there was tears. It wasn't like, do it. Like when some of these people have like zero emotion and you're like, what the? And you're like, no, this seemed real. And like Randy was just looking around and it was just, he wasn't really buying it. And I said to you, oh, he's not going to do it. He's going to be, he's going to be a pussy. He won't do it for Diego. Like, come on. Like, what the hell's the point? And then, but then Randy's like, he's like, no. He's like, give me a moment. He's like, let me chew on a Twix. I need a moment here. And, he's like, because if I do this is what you want. He's like, and I need to make sure that if I'm going to give you what you want, it's going to benefit me. Because, Randy, that's the one thing about him. He's always 3-4 steps ahead. So I like this. And then at the end, they kind of teased us. We heard the lights go out. We heard the music. And it's like, is it going to be The Fiend? Is he going to attack? I thought that's what it was going to be. And it's going to be typical, just bullshit. But we didn't see that. He had the light, the match, commentary. Oh, my God, no, don't do it. Don't do it. He didn't even drop the match. We didn't see nothing. It just went to black. And then, credits roll,
it was like a preview from the Grizzlies. Or the Grizzlies.
Yeah, I was going to say, the Grizzlies came up, and then it was like, okay, time for rope break. But, I see, the thing is, though, this was live. It wasn't like, when they did the pay-per-view that, okay, we could clearly just switch out Bray Wyatt's body for a dummy or a mannequin and light that on fire. It's kind of hard to light Alexa Bliss on fire when, one, she dumped water on herself, and two, it's live TV. So, I mean, I guess the way they did it was the best way they could do it. But we'll see next week. I'm sure The Fiend is going to be there for Legends Night.
Yeah, so then she said you don't have the guts to do it, Randy. You said that you're like crazy man, you're a psycho, you're just like unhinged. But, then do it. Give us the matches and do it and show me that you're not a little bitch. So, of course, I pop for that because, that's like legit lines. That's good, like intent. Like, that's real. That's real. That's what you will say. If you want somebody to just hurt you like this bad. But like you said, like I just didn't like the tease because like, oh, coming up a preview from the Grizzlies. I'm like,
what would be legit next week if the Fiend appears on stage or something and Alexa Bliss is there and she has like her whole maybe part of it can be open so like her pigtail or whatever can come out, but like wrapped up in bandages, like her whole body's burnt. Like that would be legit.
You hear and you see the eyes and stuff like that. It's like, okay, he really did it and he burned me. Or maybe what happened is, how like they do the show, like maybe they didn't get the overrun for this one, and they're like, what? Oh no, this was supposed to be such good shit, and not they didn't.
But then they'll give us the overrun on NXT because bullshit Gargano segments went too long.
Yeah, but like remember there was a report that they were saying that like a lot of wrestlers have been like yelled at because sometimes their segments go way too long than what they're supposed to, and maybe don't have Grand Metal League with the Miz. That'll give you an extra good 10 minutes that you just can put whatever else you want. But like, of course, booking, and that's Bruce Pritchard, that's Michael Hayes, and I love Backstreet, but like sometimes these segments don't do it like that. I mean, like you said, they ended the show with a tease. We'll see what happens. But this is our version of Monday Night Raw, family. Thank you so very much for being with us. We love you. We hope that, like, we want to say it now, have a great 2021. 2020 has not been the best, but yet we're still alive, so that means we have an opportunity to keep going and to keep pushing. And we keep pushing, so Monday Night Raw is a better show. I want to thank Paul for giving me the opportunity to be with you guys. And, don't forget to subscribe and give us like an opportunity to be part of your family and the bell for notifications. Where else can they find us?
Yep, and then also follow us on Rope Break on Facebook, the OG Rope Break on Twitter, the original Rope Break on Instagram, and of course, right here, the home of the #1 podcast in the YouTube wrestling community, the original Rope Break.
Family, thank you. Next time you'll see us, it will be for WWE NXT AEW. So, Paul, you and me have one more thing that is left to say, and that is...